We're following breaking news out of Russia. According to Russian state media, a private plane has crashed, killing all 10 people on board. Russian state media is reporting that Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of the Wagner mercenary group, is listed as one of the passengers. That name might be familiar to you. Prigozhin led a short-lived coup against the Russian government just a few months ago. NBC News foreign correspondent Josh Lederman is following this story for us. Josh, there have been a lot of twists and turns in this story, even just in the last few minutes. Things could still continue to change, but in terms of where we are right now, break down for us what we know and what we're still trying to gather.
Well, you're right to be cautious about this, Ellison. We're in that early phase where there are all kinds of conflicting reports that are exploding really throughout social media and through Telegram channels that are relied on in Russia. Some of them are going to turn out to be wrong. And so should take all of this with a grain of salt. But what we know, according to Russian state media, which has spoken to the Emergency Services Authority in Russia, is that there was a private business plane, which has been reported to be owned by Prigozhin's Wagner group, that crashed about 30 minutes or so after it took off from Moscow, flying to St. Petersburg. And it had 7 passengers on board, 3 pilots. And on the manifest list of passengers on that plane was Yevgeny Prigozhin. We are told by Russian state media that all of the passengers that were on that plane died. What we don't know is whether Prigozhin was actually on that airplane. There are conflicting reports right now suggesting that despite the fact that his name was included on that passenger list, it's possible that he actually was on a second plane that's owned by his Wagner group that is believed to be in the air right now. Prigozhin has been known to be very cautious about his security in the past and to occasionally use a body double, according to some reports. And so everyone in Russia, in the West, certainly in the U.S. right now, trying to figure out exactly what is the status of Yevgeny Prigozhin. But if he did die in this plane crash, it is certainly going to open a torrent of speculation and investigation about what exactly happened here, whether this was possibly an intentional act. There have been some early reports that are hard to prove right now that it might have been shot down. We at NBC News cannot confirm that at this point in time, but there has certainly been a lot of speculation that the Russian government had a lot of reasons to not want to see Yevgeny Prigozhin alive anymore after that mutiny that he attempted not that long ago against the Russian government. In fact, Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently told our colleague Andrea Mitchell that if he was Prigozhin, he would be pretty worried about his life right now. And certainly if he did die in this crash, that is going to create a real ripple effect throughout the political system in Russia. Yevgeny Prigozhin continuing to be a major figure on the world stage and the Russian stage, despite that failed coup attempt a few months ago.
Right, yeah, and just reminding viewers, Prigozhin's Wagner group was a key unit in Russia's war in Ukraine, very pivotal in the battle for Bakhmut. He was very public in criticizing top brass in Russia's Ministry of Defense. And then, of course, he was the one who led those tanks towards Moscow. So much to watch here. Josh Lederman, thank you for your reporting.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.